What's up, guys? This is Chris Reyes, and today we're going to be talking about credit score mistakes that literally cost you thousands of dollars. No fake internet hacks, no tricks, and no take out this credit card and you're going to become a millionaire. None of that is true. I'm going to talk about real stuff. I see credit reports day in and day out. And I'm going to talk about real habits that are damaging everyone's credit report, even if you're paying things on time. So let's get into the biggest mistake I see people make. The first mistake people make is that they treat credit score like a hack rather than a system. It's important to understand what actually makes up your credit score and not try to look for a quick fix. A lot of people want a quick button to press and have a 700 score. They want a quick fix, they want an overnight results, but that's not how credit scores work at all. FICO says that the biggest factor for your credit score is your payment history and the amount owed. So right there, we already know that you're not gonna have a quick fix. If 35% of your score is determined by your payment history and 30% is based off how much you owe, that just shows you that you cannot get quick results. That's why you have to follow a long-term plan instead of following some random score that you see online on a fake credit monitoring app. The second biggest mistake is making late payments and acting like it's no big deal. Like, this is so obvious that unfortunately it's not obvious. People think that one late payment won't mean anything, but you're showing a lender that, hey, I'm not entirely financially stable by making even one late payment. And lenders hate unpredictability. So that's what matters more than Credit Karma, than TikTok, some guy in his car talking about credit hacks, yelling at the camera. That is nonsense. If you already have a low score, this is where you start. Stop looking at all other solutions. Make your payments on time. If, for example, some people would try to get a mortgage and they were currently late on their current mortgage. It's like, dude, why do you think you would get approved for a mortgage if you're late on your mortgage? The third mistake is a huge myth that carrying a credit balance is helping your credit score. That's actually not true. Experian outright says that this is not true at all. So you're essentially just giving the bank free money for no reason, especially if you have the money to pay that credit card. So the top people with a high credit score keep their utilization under 10%. So use it, pay it off, and you'll have a high score. The fourth mistake is too much credit utilization. So a lot of people, do know this, but they don't entirely know this. So ideally, you want to keep your balance not under 30%, but rather 10%. Because if you have a maxed out card, you're showing the bureaus that you're at your limit. And just because you're making your payments on time doesn't actually mean that you're being healthy with your credit. So yes, you're paying on time, but no, that's not healthy to do. The fifth mistake is opening too much credit cards at the same time. FICO says that new lines do impact your score, but opening up lines quickly actually makes you look riskier. So if you're opening up new credit cards because Best Buy offered you 15% off on the blender, it's probably not a good reason to open up a new trade line. You can't look at it as rewards. You have to look at your credit score as a spread. The sixth mistake is closing off trade lines. So a lot of people think that they're being responsible by closing trade lines, but it's actually not true. One, you're getting rid of available credit, so your utilization rate is going to go higher. And two, you're not showing payment history, which, as we discussed, the biggest thing for your credit score is the balance and payment history. So even if you keep a small balance or use it here and there, it's going to be more beneficial. Whereas if you close off all your trade lines, you're not going to have a credit score anymore. A lot of people think they're simplifying things. Maybe you are, but also if you keep your available balances as how they are, and then you close your other accounts, your available balance is going to shoot down rather. So then your utilization is going to go up and your score is going to go down. The seventh mistake, and this is a huge one that a lot of people make, is they assume that everything on their credit report is being reported properly. So it is your responsibility to make sure that everything on your credit report is reported. For example, if you have a similar name as someone, there might be some credit line that you didn't take out that's going to report on your credit score. And what happens if they're late? Or maybe they could be on time, but then that could show up on your credit report. So when you're trying to get a loan, it's going to be on your debt to income ratio. You have to actively monitor your credit and make sure that there's no things falsely reporting on your credit score, because it could be surprising and it could be hard to fix. Well, actually, it could be pretty easy to fix as well. So you want to make sure you're actively monitoring your credit and there's no mistakes on there. The last mistake is obsessing over your credit score. So just because you have a high credit score, that doesn't mean anything. You should focus on your overall finances, like how much money you have saved up, and hopefully that you don't owe more money than you have. And this is something that a lot of people miss. You can screenshot it and show it to people and flex it, but it doesn't really mean much if your finances aren't right. Everyone knows that the higher score you have, it's easier to borrow, but this is going to focus and translate into real money. Lower rates, better programs, better options, everything. We all know the higher the score, the better options you're gonna have. And this even affects you when you're getting a loan. You know, this could be the difference between getting a 6% rate or a 7% rate, believe it or not. So you wanna make sure that you're monitoring everything in your credit history, make sure you're paying on time, making sure you have a good mix of credit lines, not just installment loans, but also revolving credit lines, all that good stuff. A lot of people are so worried about inquiries. Oh, do you want to check my credit score? And that doesn't matter. We all know that 60%, 65% is made up by 2 other factors. Credit inquiries only make up 10% of your total score. So what you gotta do is you gotta talk to a loan officer like me, check your credit, make sure everything is right so you can buy a home, because that's the American dream. So if you want a better score, pay on time, make sure you don't have high balances, monitor your credit, make sure there's no mistakes, don't close old trade lines for no reason. Don't just apply for anything, open up new trade lines randomly. You have to be strategic. That's it, that's the game, and that's how you save thousands of dollars. Drop a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.